Yes.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Valerie Milano from the Hollywood Times. I'm the senior editor and also from Aspiring Magazine. And I'm so happy to have our guest here today. And I'm going to have her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Valerie, for having me. My name is Abbesi Akhamie, and I'm here today to talk about my short film, The Incredible Sensational Fiancé of Shea Ajayi.
Wonderful. Yes, it's here at the Holly Shorts, the 21st annual. And it's fresh from earning an honorable mention in the comedy at Series Fest,
Yes.
right? And then the film follows a brilliant scholar who uncovers her fiance's secret engagement and plots a spectacular revenge, claiming that the recognition she's always deserved. Um, with its style and sharp humor and storytelling, um, your the work is both unapologetically African and refreshingly global. And thank you again for joining us. It will be at the Holly Shorts tomorrow, August 12th at noon. And first, congratulations on getting into this film festival. And for those who haven't seen it yet, how would you describe it in your own words?
Yes, so I'm hoping, of course, everyone can make it out. And also, it's going to be available for streaming after the festival, the physical festival has finished. So if you can't make it in person, you can watch it streaming on the festival website. And to your question, how would I describe it? It's a dramedy, so a mix between the drama and comedy. And for those people who might know, it has a bit of a bit of the melodrama of Nollywood, which is the term for Nigerian cinema. So it's elevated in a way with all of the brilliant costume design and production design, and the actors and performances. It creates this kind of whimsical experience, but in a way we haven't seen before, and in African filmmaking and storytelling. Like I offer this kind of unique blend of inspirations and elements to create this very unique world for the film and placing characters in them.
Yes. And I know that you're sort of living part time near DC in Northern Virginia and part time in Nigeria. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes. And so the film has been described as an African retrofuturistic dramedy. That's such a rich and intriguing
Yeah.
combination. How did you land on this particular style and tone?
Yes, thanks so much for that question. So I was heavily, there's kind of two tracks here. So in building out the world, the African retrofuturism, I was heavily inspired by the 1960s period, which is when many African countries were gaining their independence from the West. And so it was a time of hope for the future of what the people of these countries, what the future could look like. So I thought like, oh wow, there was from the fashion to the literature that was coming out to the photography. Some of my favorite photographers were coming up during those periods of time. So there was just this renaissance and explosion of culture. So I thought, okay, this time period, the 1960s, if I could just encapsulate that and make it into a world where it's a melting pot of various African cultures, which many people don't actually know about, just the so much beauty and diversity that there is. Um, and so I said, if I could just really encapsulate that into a world, that's where, oh, sorry about that. If I can encapsulate all of that into a world, what would it look like? So those were the building steps, and my imagination took free range from there, but using that as inspiration. So that's where you get the African retrofuturism, because we're kind of looking from the 1960s, but then into the future of what a world could look like, that is a melting pot of African inspiration and cultures. I think you are muted.
Um, I was so impressed with the costumes. I couldn't get enough of them. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that, just excitement that just people in certain clothes and fabrics just really enlivened the project. Um, yeah, so the style has been great. The style that you've had has been, you know, praised as bold and striking.
Mhm.
Um, but the main character's journey involves betrayal, revenge, ultimately self recognition. What drew you to this arc? And did you base any of it on real life observations or personal experience?
Yes, so I really Constance's character is so much, I think, uh, of a lot of women's story in our present modern daytime. I think, especially for a lot of millennials, I'm a part of the millennial generation. We kind of grew up definitely from the sense of, getting an education, get a background, get a strong foundation. So you do all of the things. You go to school, you get the masters, you get the PhDs, you get all of these things like that. Then you're supposed to get married. There's this timeline that we were supposed to follow. And I would also add, I think millennials and I think immigrant backgrounds as well too, because speaking of my family. Um, and so it's kind of like you've done all of these things and you have a timeline and things are supposed to turn out the way you want them to turn out because you followed everything correctly. And so, in thinking about Constance's character, I said, well, what if, we have someone who's done all the right things, but in matters of the heart, for her, she's been engaged to this person for 8 years and in chasing career and chasing her timeline to make sure everything aligns, she kind of put other things on the back burner, which includes her love life or her love interest. And so that was really the inspiration in building out Constance's character. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a bit of the melodrama, a part of it, which informed the stylistic nature of the film because it wasn't just a matter of like, okay, we're gonna, just use all of this, use different colors and put everything together. Like it was a very thoughtful process and the type of story and creating that dramedy and the African retrofuturism and bringing using production design and costume to bring out this kind of tale, this whimsical tale of a story. So, in getting back to what you said, I was definitely inspired by some of the situations that happen in our modern present day society and then circumventing it to make it match, or I should say, to inform the story that I wanted to tell in this world.
Yeah, many short films struggle to balance humor and heart. Yet yours does both seamlessly, by the way.
Thank you.
Was finding that balance something that came naturally during writing, or was it more about the editing?
Yeah, I would say it was both. Um, I will say full disclosure, if people have seen some of my previous work, I'm quite a very serious person. So, um, the films that I've done in the past, one of like, for example, one of which can be found on the Criterion Collection, it's called The Couple Next Door. It's a very serious kind of film. It's in my previous film that I also shot in Nigeria, very serious matters, subject matters, familiar family topics. And so I was a bit, how should I say, a bit concerned about the where the direction of the story was going into. I didn't necessarily right off the bat know how much comedy was going to be in the film, and it's not something that I had done before. So I just, I kind of just said, okay, I kind of just went with it during the developing and the writing of the process. So things that I kind of found funny is what I put down in the scripts, but I didn't have I didn't necessarily know right away if the things that I had thought were funny or interesting would land with the audience. So in that sense, it was both. Like I didn't really know in the development, and then I think further in the edit, when we came to kind of when I was working with the editor, Devon, his name is Devon Alexis. He asked like a similar question about how we were going to kind of tackle these comedy questions. So it came out more in that process as well. Um, And then when the film is exhibited and shown in an audience, that's when you really find out, how things are landing among people in real time. So generally, I found that audiences, I think it varies across cultures, I would say, because when I've shown the film in Nigeria, they definitely laugh a lot. But in other places, even within the United States, I was screening at Indianapolis at the Indie Shorts Film Festival, and they're a bit quieter. But then in New York, they were a bit louder. So it's very interesting. It's the journey of the film from inception to screening, festival, and distribution. It's very fluid. So I didn't know. I hadn't done comedy before, so I'm very happy if the balance between the drama and comedy is landing.
So finally, what's next for you? And can you tell our readers and viewers how they can find out more about this film, about you, social media, or website?
Yes, I have two pages on Instagram, which is for my personal Instagram, it's at Abmona, so it's ABBMONA, Abmona. And then I also have a page for the short film, The Incredible dot short film. I'm also pretty accessible, so I have my website, which is just my first and last name, abbesiakhamie.com. And I love to hear feedback and hear back from people, what they're thinking, questions. It's the part that for me as a filmmaker and storyteller that I really enjoy because most of the time, 90% of filmmaking is administration task, writing emails, fundraising, all of these things. And so little of that time is actually creative. So when we get to go to festivals and we get to hear from audience members what they think about the film and what they loved, like you said, you love the costumes. It just really makes me happy because, we spend a lot of time thinking about these things. So,
Sure, I'm sure. Well,
so
great. Thank you for it's nice to meet you virtually. Hopefully, we'll get to see each other over there at the Chinese Theater. We're the Hollywood Times today and aspiringmagazine.com. And our YouTube is the Hollywood Times Official. And thank you so much again and keep up the great work.
thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.